Hi, this is Jeffrey Kurt, Kurt Financial Group. Today is Wednesday, June 3, 2026. So I want to follow up on Monday's video as I characterize the financial markets as a bubble. And I want to give more detail on that. But first I want to point out that the S&P 500 is now up 9 days in a row. As we pointed out before, there's a 9-week winning streak. But now on a daily count, 9 days in a row, and that's the best tying the best in history. Last year we had one, April to May, after the tariff tantrum kind of calmed down. The market started to rebound, realizing that the world wasn't going to end. We had 9 days in a row then. And the other one was all the way back in 2004, October, November period. Again, 9 days in a row. So we'll see if we can beat that with today. Right now, I'm doing this in the morning. The markets are a little bit lower, so a long way to go to the close, and we'll see how that goes. Now, returning to the bubble discussion, the purpose of me talking about that, I think, was to point out to some viewers who may not be that active in terms of managing their investments. And if you're putting some hard-earned money into the 401k and been growing and like that. And I did have a conversation with a friend who's has some money in a 401k. Hey, I'm up so much this year and it's doing really well. I said, yeah, that's great. I'm glad for you, but also understand the risks. And that's what I'm trying to, again, point out that, the bubble's going to be very painful if, in fact, it is a bubble and if it ever pops. But I think that, again, the purpose of this is to point out risks that you may not be aware of and that maybe take some precautions or at least understand what's going on in the markets. Now, there are several reasons I think about that it may not be a bubble. Now, first of all, the credit markets are funding this AI thing. 49% of investment grade bonds so far this year have gone to AI and related sectors. And that totals $140 billion of issuance, again, in so far in 2026. When it comes to venture capital, their funding is $220 billion, and 87% of the venture capital has gone to AI sector stuff. And I'll put a graph up here to kind of show you what those numbers are. Now, the other reason that, again, this is getting funded and maybe it's not a bubble right now or not going to pop right now is that earnings are growing. I mean, you look at like NVIDIA, we talked about that, and Micron, and even the small caps. I mean, earnings are growing and growing rapidly. Sales are growing as well. So, again, stocks are incredibly overvalued, but the fundamentals, the numbers seem to be expanding for a lot of them too. ISM came out today, above 50, which means economic expansion. And May it increased over April. And then also the employment data from yesterday on one of the readings was stronger than expected, and that might, again, that may continue an affirming of the job market, would certainly help. And then lastly, consumption is doing pretty well. So again, the bubble, I want to make people aware of the risks that are out there. And I think it's very important. I don't know if it happens right away. I've been saying for a while that the IPOs for SpaceX and Anthropic and OpenAI, the markets are going to be held together and they're not going to go down, going into those IPOs. But again, those IPOs are going to sop up a lot of liquidity, within the financial system. So we'll end it there. Let me know any questions if we can help at all. But again, I wanted to point that out that I think there are some important risks, at some point that may become very painful. We'll be back on Friday with the employment data as well for the month of May and other things. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.